a software to just to analyze your data, to share your data, to communicate numerical values as well as other form of data. So you can use it to analyze your data, then as well big data sets. Sometimes you use it to analyze big data sets and also to visualize your data. Just like I said, you can use different charts, you can use bar charts, pie charts, as well as other data visualization techniques. So Excel is just this tool that is being used for data analysis most times. And one thing about Excel is just that you don't need to know how to code for you to actually use Excel. So just like other data analysis tools like Pandas, NumPy, which you require some level of skills of programming to do that. Microsoft Excel is not like that. And also Excel is a part of Microsoft Office tools. In Microsoft Office we have Microsoft Word, we have PowerPoint, so Excel is also part of them. So you can use Excel on different platforms. It is available for different operating system. We have it on Windows, we have it on Macintosh, we have it on Linux. So it's available for different operating system, and it is a popular used software for data analysis. So to save your Microsoft Excel file, just like we have different file formats or file extensions for different files. For audio, most of the time we can save it in MP3 formats. For videos, we have MP4 formats. So for Microsoft Excel, so the extension is usually point XLXX, but before that it's just SLX. But from Microsoft to 2013 onward, we have XLXX as a file extension for that. So then another thing about Microsoft is just that it has compatibility mode, whereby if you are working with Microsoft Excel 2016, it is still compatible with Microsoft Excel 2013 or other versions. So if your file is created using Microsoft Excel 2016, so it's compatible with other versions as well. For the Microsoft Excel, probably it's better for me to open one of them. So I believe you all know how to open Microsoft Excel Windows. So the biggest step is just for you to go to the your start menu, then search for Microsoft Excel, then you open it. And then some of you may have the shortcuts on your desktop, so it's easy for you to open to that. So for Excel, when you open it, you have this home page set up whereby you have different templates. So you can search for more templates. So if you are trying to prepare a budget, if you are trying to prepare other things such as calendar, organizer, charts, as well as other things. So there are different templates available. But for the purpose of this lecture, so we are just going to be looking into just a plain template. So just like you can see, we have different interface and different dialogues there. So for the recent Excel formats, we have what we call quick access tools, whereby you have the auto save, then you have different buttons for you to undo or redo different operation you've been able to perform. Then we have what we call tabs, the command tabs, whereby we have the home page, then the inserts, page layouts, formulas, data review, view, then automate, help, and so on like that. So for each tab, once you click on each tab, the different command ribbons that is associated with this tab will pop up. Then depending on the operation you are trying to perform, you can easily click for you to perform that particular operation. So for each tab we have what we call ribbons or command ribbons, different which contains different commands. So at times for these ribbons, the popular ones, the popular commands or the popular operation will be what will appear in there. Then also for each of these ribbons, we have the commands. Probably for the text formatting, we have the bold, the italics, underline, and so on. Then you can easily extend the ribbons to have other options as well. But for the ribbon, just the most commonly used one will appear on the ribbon as well. Then also in Excel we have, basically you are working with worksheets. So the sheet title appear here. I believe you all can see the movement of my mouse. So the sheet title will appear here. Then you can easily create different worksheets, sheet one, sheet two, sheet three, and so on. So the different worksheets in an Excel file is called workbook. And also for a particular worksheet, we have series of rows and columns. So rows are just for you to know them. They are in numeric formats 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have different rows like that and so on and so forth. Then for the columns, it is in alphabetical format A, B, C, D, E, and so on like that. So in Excel, the intersection between the the column and the row is known as the cell. So the location of that particular cell or the active cell will be displayed here. Right here. So depending on where you move to the active cell in that particular worksheet, the name will be displayed here. So just like I said, is a cell is just the intersection between column and a row. So for this particular one, we have D, which is the name of the column. Then we have 3, which is the name of the row. So a cell is named based on the column as well as the row. So it starts with the alphabets, which is the name of the column, then the number, which is used to identify that particular row. And also we have the formula bar as well. So you can use the formula bar to write different formulas, probably to add one or two rows together to do subtraction. Anything, just you can calculate the average, calculate percentage. So depending on what you have in mind. And also at the lower right corner, you can easily zoom in and zoom out your worksheets. So you can easily zoom in and zoom out, and you can easily do that by left clicking the bar as well to move it to the right or to the left. Yeah, I think that's just the basic thing in the Excel worksheets. And also depending on what you are trying to do, you can easily go to help. Then there are series of videos you can watch for you to achieve what you are trying to achieve there, as well as for you to have different information on that. So just like I was saying, you have the quick access toolbar. Yeah, then you have the title bar. Sorry, I forgot to show that. The title bar just shows the name of that particular file. Just like I said, Excel normally carry .xlx file extension. So once you save it, depending on the name of that particular, for instance, let's say we have file Excel. So you can see that the title has changed to the name we use to save it. So basically the title bar shows the name of that particular file you are working on, and we have the formula bar here as well. Then also we have the close button. Then just like I said, you have the ribbons as well as the file tab to navigate. Then the name of that particular active cell you have is here. Then the worksheets you are working with and the views. So Excel to navigate across different cells. You can easily use the arrow keys to move around. You can use the upward arrow key, the up arrow key, the down arrow key as well. Then also most times you can easily use tab on your keyboard once you press tab to move to the next cell towards the right. And to move to the next cell towards the left, you can easily use shifts and tab to move as well. Then to move downward, you can easily press enter on your keyboard, and to move upward, you can easily press shift enter as well. And if you have your mouse down on it and it's easier to use, you can easily just click on that particular cell you want to work on. And also, one thing I would like to tell you is once you are trying to input your data, let's say for example, for CA assessments, as a header, let's say you have the student's number, then you have different scores for that. So basically for you to edit, so once for you to edit a particular cell, you have to double click on it to edit, or else anything you are trying to add will be overwritten by the new data. So basically I can just undo that. So is either you double click for you to edit, and once you double click, you can easily see the mode you are in, whether you are in editing mode down here. Then also you can easily press F2 for you to edit as well. And also there are different shortcuts you can use for your Excel, just like we have in Microsoft Word and other conventional office applications. So for you to open a new workbook, you can easily press Ctrl O to open an existing file that has been saved. And also to create a new file, you can just press Ctrl N to save, you press Ctrl S, and for you to print as well, you press Ctrl P, and so on like that. So I think for this also I've been able to explain what ribbon means. So for each command tab, we have different ribbons which address different commands or operation which you can easily perform in that particular command tab. So just like I said earlier, so for each command tab, we have groups of command. Then also we have specific command. So for instance, for the home command, we have the clipboard group command. Yeah. Then also for in the home tab, we also have what we call the fonts group command. We have the alignment group command, and for each of these group command, we have the actual operation command. So for example, for the fonts group command, we have the command for us to bold our text. We have the command to italicize our text as well as to underline. So we have different group commands, and if the operation you are trying to perform is not available, you can easily extend this set of commands to perform that particular operation you are trying to perform. Then also for the command tab, we have some commands which are not active at the moment. It depends on what you are trying to do. For example, let's say you have an image. So it is when you have an image and that image is active that that particular command will pop up. For example, let's try and plot a graph for this for us just to explain what we mean. I think that's inserts. Yeah, so basically just like we have this chart here, then we have the formats command tab. And normally the format is not available, but once this chart is active, then we have the chart design as well as the formats just for us to have other operations to perform on this particular chart. So at times it depends on what you have on the active cell or what is active. Then we will easily access that particular operation you are trying to perform. So these are the just the major these three major things available in the menu bar. We have the tabs, the groups command, as well as the command. That's a particular operation you are trying to perform. Then just like I said, the group command are put together. They are like related commands which are grouped together for you to easily access them. Then then I think I'll be able to explain commands which the commands which are easily used, which are mostly used, are the ones available. Then the ones that are not used most of the time, you can easily view them by clicking on the extension button, which I have shown. And also when you are trying to design your worksheets, or when you're trying to develop a worksheet, you need to plan and design it. So there are important things for you to look into. So the first thing is just for you to determine the purpose of the worksheets. So two major questions that you need to have at the back of your mind is that who is going to use that worksheet, and what will that worksheet be used for. So who, you consider the question of who is going to use that particular worksheet, as well as what will that worksheet be used for. So speaking about the purpose of that particular worksheet. So is it for budget? Are you trying to use it for budget? Is it for your personal use? So is it for your team members, just for you to provide reports and other things like that? So you need to know the purpose of that particular worksheet which you are trying to design, or which you are trying to come up with. And also you need to determine the desired results. So what will be the end products, the outcome of that particular worksheet? Will you share it among your team members, or will it just be for personal use? And also, you need to collect all necessary information. For example, if you are working on sales data, so you need to collect the sales data, and at some points, the data can be from different sources. So you need to collect unnecessary information for you to come up with that particular worksheet. And also, you can easily import data from an existing worksheet as well. So it is important for you to know the source of the data which you are going to use for that particular worksheet, and also determine the calculations for formulas that are necessary for you to achieve your results. So if you are trying to calculate student grade based on percentage, you need to determine how to calculate the percentage, the formulas you are going to use, or the calculations you are going to use. And also, if you are trying to come up with the average, you need to know the formula you are going to use to calculate the average, probably the average score, the average usage of a particular product or item. So you need to know the calculation or the formulas that are necessary. And finally, you need to sketch how you want the worksheets to look like. So you need to have a sketch of that, where you want the title bar to be, where you want the labels to be, where you want probably the total to be, and other data you are trying to input. So you need to have a sketch for you to know how it's going to come up. Then also one other advice that is usually suggested is that you need to consider those that may have probably in human computer interaction. So you need to consider different colors. There are some people who have probably difficulty in identifying some colors, so it's important to consider that as well when you are trying to sketch how your worksheets will actually look like. So for this sample worksheet, we have just like I said, you need to know where to place different information. So for this, you have different data for each month. Then you have the total year as well as the average. So it's important for you to know where to place each of these information. So it will not be ideal for you to place, for example, this total on column C, and you have July on column E. So it will look somehow. So one thing also for you to have at the back of your mind is just that when other people are looking at your worksheets, they should be able to understand it easily, even if you are not available. So it is better for you to plan out how your worksheets will look like, just for it to be easily usable, and for other people to interact with it. So and then just like I said in Excel, we have what we call cell. Just like I said, and cell is just the intersection between the column and the row. So and when a cell is active, so it will have a border lines across this cell, which is in bold black. I think I can easily show that. So for example, here we have D18 as the active cell. So you can see the green border across the cell. So once you move your mouse maybe downward or upward on depending on whichever cell you move your mouse to or whichever cell you click on, which is the active cell, you can easily identify that based on the green border line across that particular cell. So just like I said, we have the cell column as well as the cell rows to name that particular cell. And just like I said, for you to know actually which particular cell you are working on, the cell name will be displayed here in the name box of your particular of your worksheets. Then also one thing for you to know is just you need to know how to format the different data you are trying to input. So for Excel, you can input different data. So for example, let's say you are trying to input name of a person. Let's say Peter. Then you are trying to input a value. Let's say we have 50. So you can notice the difference here. The difference is just that um the name or whatever variable which with alphabets is usually aligned to the left, and when you are dealing with values it is usually aligned to the right. So it is important for you to know how to format them. Then also at times when you try to start your numbers with zero, let's say you're trying to input a full number. So you will notice that the zero disappeared. So all this thing is based on how you format your data. And at times when you are dealing with decimal values, let's say you have something like 12.00. So you have just 12. So all these things depends on formatting. And when you want to format your data, or most especially numbers, you can easily navigate to the number command tab. So based on this, you can easily determine the type of value you are dealing with, whether you are dealing with number, whether you are dealing with currency, or you are trying to produce a budget report or accounting information. You can easily determine that, and also percentage, or if when you are dealing with fraction number, or you are trying to produce a scientific report, and if you are working with tests as well. And also just like we have different dates formats, we have the short dates, we have the long dates, as well as the time. So um formatting is very important when you are working with your Excel worksheets, just for you to have the expected results you are trying to have. So with that, you can easily customize your data to enter different information you are trying to enter, and Excel will conform with it. So for example, for this case, we have different items here, and when the format is general, we just have the numbers there. Then when you try to change it to accounting, you can see the dollar symbol, although there is a slight space between the dollar symbol as well as and the value, which is the price. Then when you change the currency, you can notice the difference here. So it all depends on how you format your data. Then also based on formatting, you can easily copy the format of a particular cell to another cell. So I can easily demonstrate that. Let's say for this particular cell, we underline it, then we try to fill that particular cell with yellow color. So let's say we have another cell here. X001490. So for this, we can easily click on the format printer, then click on the desired cell which you are trying to format in that particular way. So you can see that this particular cell has been able to conform with the same format we have here, whereby we have the data underlined and we have the cell color which is yellow. So for you to format a particular cell instead of doing a particular thing over and over again, you can easily click on format printer when the cell is active. For example, you can easily click on format and printer when the cell is active and go to the data or the cell where you are trying to format in that particular format and click on it to make that particular changes. Then I think I've been able to explain this earlier as well. So when you are working with Excel, we have different mode. So for you to edit the information you have in the cell. So just like I said, towards downward left corner, you see the mode. So when a cell is active, you have the ready mode. And when you want to edit the data in that particular cell, once you double click on it, you have the ready mode to be changed into the edit mode. Then you can easily edit and change the information you have there. So apart from that, if the cell is just active and you have the ready mode, any information you try to input will be overwritten with the new data you are trying to input into that particular cell. So you should know the difference when you are trying to edit and when you have it as ready mode. And one other thing is when it is in edit mode, you see the cursor or the a blinking line called the insertion point. Yeah, I forgot to explain that. So when you double click or you press F2, you see the blinking line which shows that you are in edit mode. So you can easily add information you are trying to add to it to make the edits you are trying to edit. But if there's no blinking line, which means the cell is just active or the cell is just ready, the information you try to input will be overwritten in that particular Excel. And also, just like I said, we have what's called formulas in Excel as well. So when you are trying to write formula, you need to consider the mathematical order of operations. So you include the functions of these mathematical operations as well. So also when you don't know the name of the command, you can easily go to the help tab. Just like I said, you can easily go to the help tab or search for that particular. Sorry, you can easily go to the help tab to search for that particular operation you are trying to do. So we have different recommended topics. Let's say you are trying to get average. So you have the syntax for you to calculate average of different numbers or across a particular cell range. So when we say cell range is just the range of cell that is being active or highlighted. So for instance, um for this now we have E22 to L22 being highlighted, which is the active cell range at the moment. So and at times when you have multiple cells, so you start with the first one, which is E22 to L30 as the active cell range. So this is what we call cell range. So if you do not know the formula, you can easily go to the help tab, just search for the topic you are trying to do. And most times the formula bar has this autocomplete feature whereby when you start typing, it should be able to give you the complete information of what you are trying to do. Sorry. I think you start with equal to, then let's say you are trying to get an average, so you can easily see if you are on the right track or not based on the information being returned. That's and for formula, it is important for you to know that when using formulas, you must ensure that you have the correct syntax. So you have to know the correct syntax for you to use that particular formula. Without that, you can easily run into error whereby you will get the wrong information being displayed. Most times we have name error. Then using the formula tab in on the office ribbon. So when you use the formula tab, it has, just like I said, it has the autocomplete feature just for you to ensure you are on the right track. Then also when working with Microsoft Excel, there are good Excel practices which you need to follow. The first thing is just to try to provide the metadata for that particular Excel workbook you are working with. So for instance, to do that in the recent Microsoft Excel, you need to click on File, just go to Info here. Then on the properties, you can easily add your title, probably something like CA assessments. So you can add the different tags as well as the categories, just the metadata, just for you to have an idea of what you are trying to achieve. So because at times when you create a worksheet or a workbook, when you create a workbook, then when you go back to it, you may have forgotten the reason why the workbook is actually created in the first place. But once you add the titles, the tag, and as well as the categories, you can easily remember the reason why it is being created. And also, another good Excel practice is flexibility. So, our spreadsheets allow for easily changes to key variables. So most times it is not advisable for you to use numbers in the formula of your Excel. So it is advisable for you just to use the cell reference. So what I mean by that is, for example, let's say you are trying to get the percentage of this particular um score. So you can easily, let's say the total score is 100. And 100. So instead of just having different numbers, so it is advisable for you to have another cell to have the total score, let's say 100. So with this, you can easily edit this to be E8. So it is usually advisable instead of you just using plain numbers. So actually have that particular value stored in a particular cell which you can easily reference. And also try to make your worksheets to be simple as much as possible. So avoid using complex formulas at times. Then at times there may be some formula which you do not actually need. So avoid them. Make sure you use the appropriate functions and formulas in your work file to keep your work simple. Then also you do not have to input data from what people worksheets or hidden cells. So just like I said, you can have different data sources, but your work will be complex if you have to import different data from different worksheets. Then also ensure the worksheet is usable. This talks about the usability. So this just ensure that other people that are trying to look into your work file, look into your worksheets, they can easily understand what you are trying to do and what you are trying to achieve. Then also ensure that each cell is being named. Where appropriate, you provide the name. You have a naming convention where it is appropriate. Then also you try and protect cell whereby any user cannot just come to make changes for that. Then you can easily include instructions on how to use your Excel file. Then formula most of the time makes use of brackets. So at times you may forget to close a bracket you open. I think Excel usually use different colors to represent that. For instance, let's see, you have equal to sum of I close this, probably open another one. So you have probably average. So it is at times one can forget to close one or two of the brackets. So it's advisable for you to ensure you take notes of these brackets to avoid error most of the times. Then also the cell referencing as well is very important. We have what we call absolute cell reference, then we have relative cell reference. So basically for the absolute cell reference, it means that particular cell you are referring to, the value will not change. The value will not change. Then for relative cell reference, the value will change as you move along that particular worksheet. For instance, let's say, sorry, let me just clear this. Let's say you have different scores for these. Then you are trying to add them together as a sum. So let's say you have something like, oh, so for the relative referencing, so the value will change across the different worksheets for this. But for the absolute referencing, you have what's called the ampersand symbol there, just to ensure the value of P3, the value of 10 will remain constant across the worksheet. Sorry. Then when you try to do that, you see that the value of B3 is still constant across. So, and depending on what you are trying to achieve, then also we have what we call mixed reference, whereby the value of that particular row is constant, whereby you reference that particular row instead of that particular column. And also we have the column reference, whereby the value of that particular column is constant depending on what you are trying to achieve. So you consider absolute and relative cell referencing and make sure you use them correctly. For your graphs, probably maybe your pie charts or your Y charts, your pie charts, you try, as well as your histogram, you try to ensure that you use the appropriate scaling for them. Then for the printing, you ensure you set the printing area to where you actually want to print.